okay? Engine and performance. Before I get started with that, I want to talk about what's underneath here. We got multi-material space frame actioning happening. We've got aluminum sections, we've got cast aluminum, carbon fiber reinforced polymer. We even have sheet aluminum. All of that makes this vehicle much, much lighter than its predecessor and about 40% more rigid. So it increases the overall rigidity. That's a word, just don't look it up, right? Track performance. Audi is known for taking track performance and putting it to the road. The 2017 R8 is a great example. It shares 50% of its components with the R8 LMS, that is the Le Mans Series racer. Now this is a great example, but it's not the only example. Believe it or not, all of our Audi models, anytime we're rolling out new technology or we're testing new performance, we test it first on the track before we bring it to commercial use. So in essence, theoretically speaking, anytime you get behind the wheel of any of our Audi vehicles, just like that, you become a race car driver. That's kind of a cool feeling when you think about it. Building these beauties, in order to operate on them, you must be a master engineer. You have to go through years of schooling and training. And even once you've gone through years of schooling and training and you've reached master engineer, you still have to go through additional training specific to the R8 before you can even turn a bolt onto this vehicle. Okay? Goes through a two-stage manufacturing process, test out the thermodynamics of the material, and in terms of refinement, who here knows where most of our Audi vehicles are manufactured?
Germany.
Yes, specifically Ingolstadt. At the Ingolstadt plant, that's where a majority of our vehicles are manufactured. Not her, but 150 miles away from Ingolstadt, its very own production facility. That's where the R8 is manufactured. Okay? Why? Because this vehicle doesn't simply roll down an assembly line and get put together by robots. You know who puts these things together for the most part?
Master mechanics.
Actual human beings. Yes. And when you look at this vehicle, you look at the scenes, you can see how flawless. It's those master engineers at work. I'll bring you to the back of the vehicle here.
Is the Bugatti made at the same time?
Not at the same plant, different plant. What you'll notice at the very back of this vehicle, okay, you're going to notice a large sheet of glass. You have no back seat, you have no trunk, you simply have engine. Even though the engine is located in the very back of the vehicle, it's actually known as a mid-engine design. Now, the mid-engine design made famous back in the 1930s. The Auto Union raced a vehicle called the Silver Arrow. Won many racing awards for Audi. This mid-engine design is inspired by that. Now, there's a couple benefits to the mid-engine design. First and foremost,
Sorry.
it's okay. It does it to all of us. Don't you worry. First and foremost, first benefit of mid-engine design, look how gorgeous this is. I mean, that's just pretty to look at, right? Second benefit, if you were to take the very center of this vehicle, you were to split it right down the middle, about 55% of the weight is in the back, about 45% of the weight is in the front. Makes this weight nice and evenly balanced. You're going to notice that too. When you're accelerating, decelerating, when you start taking these turns, that performance is nice and balanced. That's that mid-engine design. Now, when we look back here, what type of engine do you see in the very back there? A nice one. I'll give you a hint. It says it on the engine, what type of engine it is. There you go, Justin. It's a V10. What you don't see is a V8. Because Audi no longer puts a V8 engine in the R8. It's strictly a V10. Now, there's two variants to it. The V10 Plus, which you're looking at here, and the V10 out there. Okay? Now, if you were to just look at the engine, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I will tell you that the V10 gets 540 horsepower. The V10 Plus, 610 horsepower. There's a difference of 70 horses. Performance-wise, though, you're really, it's about 10 pounds different in torque, about 400 to 410. But performance-wise, you're really not going to be able to tell the difference with commercial use, okay? The only way you can tell the difference driving these two vehicles, if you were a professional race car driver, you had this thing out on the track and you were reaching speeds of 205 miles per hour. Yeah, at that point, you're going to notice some displacement and differences, but for what we're doing, not so much, all right? Now, this is a naturally aspirated engine. And what I mean by that, if you look at it, you'll see there are no turbos attached to it. There are no superchargers. That's the cheater's way of getting power out of an engine. No. This is pure, raw, unadulterated power that comes from this engine. And that's a pretty impressive thing. If you look right below there, you'll see the integrated twin trapezoidal sport exhaust system, which puts out what Audi refers to as their electrifying sport exhaust roar. Now, we're a little close to the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to turn it on, but I encourage each and every one of you, when you get these vehicles, first fire them up, give it a little bit of gas so that you can hear that electrifying sport exhaust note. Don't be annoying about it. Don't be annoying about it. But give it a little bit of gas so that you can really hear what the system's designed to do. If that doesn't get the juices going, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what will.
My juices
All right?
are going.
I know. Inside this engine, you got really cool things happening as well. This engine has both an indirect and a direct fuel injection system. Okay, it can flip-flop between the two. There's a reason for it. Remember, I mentioned this is a naturally aspirated engine, right? In order to keep this engine cool, in order to prevent this engine from seizing, in order to prevent engine knocking, this thing has the ability to switch to 100% indirect fuel injection at any given point in time. You wouldn't even notice a difference or drop in performance. Now, with great power comes great fuel economy responsibility. Believe it or not, in the R8, it has the Audi cylinder on-demand technology, which can actually save you on fuel depending on how you're driving this vehicle. So let's say you're just kind of coasting in the R8. Well, it doesn't need to use all those cylinders. It's actually going to shut off power to certain cylinders in order to save you on fuel. Now, opposite that, you drop this thing down into sport mode, you're tearing up all over the place. Sure, you're going to open up more cylinders, you're going to burn more fuel. But it's nice to know that that option is there. It's also nice to know that you don't need a $202,000 car to experience that. Cylinder on demand is on our most modestly priced Audi. The Audi A3 offers that same technology. This is a brand new S-Tronic dual clutch transmission. Now this is an automatic. It's a 7-speed automatic. Okay? And what the new S-Tronic dual clutch is designed to do is shift more effectively, more efficiently, and dare I say, more aggressively. Now, long gone are the days where a manual is going to get you a more efficient shift. Technology has gotten to the point where automatics are on par, if not slightly better. Okay? To that extent, the 2017 R8 only offered in an automatic transmission. You can't buy this thing in a manual. Okay? Now, it does have a manual mode. You can use the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. You can use the Tiptronic, but there's no designated manual transmission. Okay? It's got the brand new electronic quattro system, all right? That gives you the ability of having a vehicle with rear wheel drive that at any point in time can shift 100% of the power and torque all the way to the front. That's the first for Audi. Usually we max out at about an 85-15 split. This thing throws 100% of that power and torque all the way to the front, okay? Now again, that's a first for Audi. First featured on the 2017 R8. It's going to be on the upcoming A4 All-Road as well, okay? Next, I want to talk about our suspension. Now, inside our suspension is an oil. And inside that oil are these tiny, tiny little metal balls. You see them all bouncing around and knocking into one another. They're having a good time, right? The vehicle is on comfort mode, okay? So when the suspension is on comfort mode, you feel a little bit more floaty inside of it, okay? Now watch what happens when I put this thing into dynamic mode. Put it in dynamic mode, what happened? Oh, yes, look at that. They all lined up right there. The magnets kicked in. That's the Audi magnetic ride. It's on the TT and on the A3 as well. So what that does, the magnets kick in, it stiffens that suspension, makes that suspension much more rigid. You're going to feel everything that this vehicle wants you to feel. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, when your butt is sitting about 6 inches off the pavement, you're going to feel everything. But that is by design. The 2017 R8 wants you to become one with it when you drive it. It's one hell of an experience, let me tell you. Okay? The last thing I'll say, this vehicle goes 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. And that kind of speed and that kind of power, you need a solid set of brakes. Okay? Standard on the V10 out there are the Audi Wavelength brakes. You can tell they're the Wavelength. They've got a wave cut design into them. Standard on the V10 Plus are the Audi Ceramic brakes. Now, both of these are designed to be much lighter, much more powerful. The only difference in the case of the ceramics, they're designed to fade less. Okay? As I mentioned, the V10 Plus puts out a little bit more power. You want to make sure you have a set of brakes on there that's not going to fail. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, that's engine. That's performance. It's time to drive.
Let's do it.
All right.